So what does a good strategy look like? Well, I'm going to take you through an example, okay? And with strategy, as I always talk about, you have to have a vision. You have to start with the end in mind. So when I work with customers, when I'm finished all the brainstorming, we narrow it down, we eventually agree on something, and then it's about building the plan, right? But what I want to do is I want to package that together so they can all visualize it and understand that everything that they're doing is aligned to something. So they're not going to go off on a tangent, they're not going to go down a rabbit hole or stay on tunnel vision. They're going to keep aligned. Because when things get difficult, you want to make sure you come back to the right area. So I created this little box called what I call the Strategy House of Excellence, right? And essentially that is, it's just a house, and it's all about, again, looking at the core principles and the core elements of a strategy. So this example is with a client, and they had this vision. Well, they are on a growth burst, but they just wanted to grow over the next number of years, and they wanted to be profitable growth, and that was their vision, right? Then we said, okay, let's pare it back. What does that actually mean? Because that's just very loose and very high. So that's their vision, profitable growth. So we turned that into goals. So we talked about the top 3 goals. What are the 3 goals that are going to help us build that profitable growth? So we talked about double profits over 3 years, right? So that was the real tangible one. And then we talked about, well, we're going to achieve that by developing a new product, a white label product in this case. And then the third one was become the best business partner in the sector, be becoming customer centric, right? So they were the 3 sort of tangible goals, but again, they're still above and beyond, they're still far away, there's a journey to get there. So that's all well and good. So then we pare it back again, we keep breaking it down into smaller chunks of work, and then, as I spoke about in previous videos and what I speak about a lot, you break it into its core elements. And I talk about there's an external customer focus, there's an internal, and that's broken out between your teams and your process, right? So we created 3 core streams of work. One was become that customer centric business, right? And then the second was winning teams, and the third one was all about performance. Because again, if you're talking about growth is 2 things, not just about getting more sales, right? But it's also, and profit, by the way, it's not about just getting more sales, it's all about, well, can we reduce our cost of service? Because technically, if you reduce your cost of service, your net profit increases. So it's not all about new sales. And I talk about this again in other videos, all the different drivers to get profitable growth. But these are the core elements that this company spoke about and wanted to work on. So within that, customer centric, they talk about turning customers into partners, but what again does that mean? So they developed market intelligence. What were customers looking for? They exceeded their customer expectations. They did this by getting feedback and working very closely with them, and then they created a market and brand message to deliver. So there's quite a bit of work on the marketing side of this to get moving. So that was going to take them between 3 and 6 months. And so again, we broke it down from something that was vision, 3 years, and then into sizable chunks of work. So what's the first milestone on that? That is crucial, and they're the things that will keep you motivated and keep that momentum moving. So then the other one was about building winning teams, right? So what does winning teams mean? Again, we break it down. What is this business's understanding of that? Because it can mean many different things. So the first thing we talk about, develop a culture of results. So we want to talk about getting people contributing, right? But ensure they're satisfied by contributing. It's not just contributing and pushing them down a sort of a road like where they're just like going above and beyond and they're becoming burnt out over time. You don't want that. You want to make sure you get that balance of satisfaction and contribution, right? Then the other thing we talk about, created like an environment of results orientation, not just about exchanging time for money. Let's have our deliverables, and not just something that's uncomfortable and way uncomfortable, something that's in the stretch zone, something that's just a little bit above and beyond the comfort zone. So this company were very strategic in how they did this, very much thinking of the people, not just about burning them out, but again, bringing them along the journey with them and getting them motivated and keeping them satisfied so they contribute. And another big part of the teams is, well, there's different departments in the team, and then even within departments there's different activities, right? But what happens if people are out and then there's a stop? Some part of the business stops. Sometimes they're really part of the core and sometimes they're not. So we started talking about cross-functional, really knowing that when somebody's out, someone can fill in the gap and keep things moving. And then it's all about helping each other. So we created a culture of reciprocation where people help each other. And that is crucial, and that creates happy teams, and happy teams are performing teams. So there was a huge drive on building that culture of results through treating their teams extremely well. So that's getting the teams motivated, the emotional part of it. But then we talked about that performance piece, that other sizable chunk of work, the work stream. So we talked about improved service delivery, but again, paring it down, what does that mean? We talk about, okay, let's become really optimized, that we remove all the internal waste. So we looked at all the different things, we process mapped everything, we looked at all the waste, we analyzed it, we looked at all the issue drivers, and then we created strategies to eradicate them or mitigate them as much as possible. So we were really efficient, and not just efficient, but effective at doing the things that were important for the business and the customer. Then how did we do that as well? How do we make sure we're performing? We put in strategic KPIs. Key, not every. So we stripped away a lot of their indicators and just put in key. Some of them were key controls, some of them were process controls, to ensure that we were able to measure on a daily basis that we were performing as we should. And then we had some innovative processes, because we talked about this white label product. We wanted to make sure we could innovate and make sure we could implement a new product line into the process that was already existing. So over time we became really performance and effective, and we reduced our internal costs. Because what happens if you're still at a price point here with your service or product and your costs were there but now they're down here? What does that mean? More profits. But the other thing, it means you're doing less work to get it done. It means you bring in your lead time to delivery plus your lead time to payment. So not only profits improve but cash flow. And these are the elements of becoming really profitable over time. So it's not just about new products, that's part of the equation, but it's not the full one. And these are the things about building a really strong strategy. It's very systematic and we leave nothing to chance. And when you look at all these things together, and you don't overload it, I like to keep about 3 work streams. If any more, it becomes very overwhelming for your teams and your business, because you still need to do your day job. These are the things that we look at. And again, you block off pieces of time every week to work on the strategy. And over time, you start seeing results. But again, you need to check in often. That's why you break it down to really sizable chunks of work. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, get in touch. If you want to see the Strategy House in more detail, let me know. I'd love to help. Have a great day.